Hey everyone, this is Jeremy with To the Tabletop, and today we're taking a look at Elektra, one of the licensed Marvel fighters from the Unmatched games. Of course, Elektra is from the Hell's Kitchen Marvel set, along with Daredevil and Bullseye. Daredevil being a character that she is very much associated with. We see her with her famous size, have her in this nice action pose. She is probably the best mini in this particular set, and she is famous for dying and then coming back with the hand. Ooh, which are these guys? The Hand. And the Hand is like this organization that she is part of, and these are like hand ninjas that are going along with her. So we'll take a look at her here, and we've got two different character cards. What is going on with these Marvel characters and these multiple cards here? Well, we'll start with Elektra. Elektra, she's melee, a health of 7, move of 2, and of course she has 4 the Hand, so she has 4 hand with her, which is the first fighter since Robin Hood to get 4 single health sidekicks. Her ability is, the first time Elektra would be defeated, remove her and all hand from the board. She is not defeated. At the start of your next turn, resurrect her. Then also you ignore effects with this symbol, with that hand symbol. So some of the cards will have this symbol on it. When she starts off as regular Elektra, you do not do any effects with that hand. But once she comes back, we have Elektra resurrected. She comes back with 9 health this time. When Elektra resurrects, flip your health dial, shuffle your discard pile into your deck, place Elektra and all hand back onto the board with each fighter in a different zone, and you must resolve effects with that hand symbol. She comes back stronger, with more health and with some extra effects on her cards that she wasn't going to have the first time around. And you'll see that her health dial is made to go along with this, because it starts off with 7 and it'll go down, and when you get to 0, instead of 0 you just have a hand on it, which means you flip it, boom, and now she's at 9 health because she's resurrected. Then she'll go through all of this and eventually, okay, yeah, that 0 is real this time. And we will see as we get into this here that Elektra has a pretty small deck here. It is not the full size one that everyone else has. I will grab Bullseye's here just as a comparison. You see that Bullseye's is a good bit larger, actually 1/3 larger. Bullseye has 30 cards in his deck, which is the standard size. Elektra has 20. And if you think about that, her discard pile shuffles into her deck when she comes back, so she will probably go through more than 20 cards when she goes through her entire game. Okay, so let's take a look at her deck here and see what we've got to work with. We have Mystic Assassin, 2 copies of this, an attack of 6. After combat, Elektra takes 3 damage. Oof, well, yeah, so Elektra is going to push herself towards death as she starts off. But the hand symbol is Elektra takes no damage instead. So this is going to be much better after she's resurrected and comes back. Hands of Red. An attack of 4. After combat, return a defeated hand to a space in Elektra's zone. So in addition to getting them all back when she resurrects, she also has this card which can bring them back. Mesmerize. This is a scheme. Choose an opponent and look at their hand. Gain 1 action. The red hand effect here is choose 1 card for them to discard. So what this is like a confirmed suspicion or an insight with an action gain on it, which means that not only can you pull a card out of their hand, but you instantly get an action back on it. So you can look at their hand, pull something out of there, and then turn around and attack them twice still, or attack them once. Maybe you had to maneuver to get up to them. but it gives you a chance to be a bit more harsh than what even Sherlock or Giles can do there with that action gain that's built into it. Cloaked in Shadow. This is a versatile of 2. Immediately cancel all effects on your opponent's card. Well, that's faint. But we look at this red hand here. After combat, move Elektra up to 3 spaces. So it's better than faint. Whirlwind. A versatile of 2. If you haven't been resurrected, this is just a blank versatile 2, which kind of sucks. After combat, deal 1 damage to each adjacent opposing fighter. So it kind of turns into a weaker, wily fighting, which is something. Not amazing, but something. Next we'll have Intercept. This is a defense of 3. Once again, no effect on this. If you have not resurrected, it's just a blank 3. The resurrected during combat effect is, you may reveal a card named Psy from your hand. If you do, the value of this card is 5 instead. Well, a 5 is a pretty good, that's a pretty good defense card there. What is Psy? Well, that's going to be this card right here, which we'll see that you have 2 copies of. This is just a blank versatile 4, which, a 4 is, it's a decent defense, a decent attack. It's not got effects, but it's decent, but it pairs really well with Intercept. This is you're just revealing. This is you just have to show them that you have it in your hand. You're not discarding it. You're not playing Psy when you use it on Intercept. You're just throwing it out there. Snakeroot Clan. This is a defensive 1. Ooh, defensive 1 sounds pretty bad. Immediately, Elektra may swap spaces with a hand. If she does, that hand is now the defender. So she just gets to trade spaces with a dude, and that attack goes against that dude instead of her. This is very much like under Achilles' helm. You're switching with this hand here, which since this is a defensive 1, that hand is probably gonna die. I'm not really sure why you would not switch after playing this. Maybe, if it was like a regroup or like a 2 attack or something, and you just really wanted to keep her in the spot there and not kill that hand, maybe you're willing to take a little tiny attack. It's pretty much a card that just doesn't negate, it sends it to a hand, but pretty much negates any damage thrown at Elektra. Ninjutsu. We are finally getting into our innies here. This is a versatile of 3. After combat, place your fighter in any space. So you get to just teleport after you do it there with a place. That's nice. The hand can play it. Elektra can also play it. So, it's something decent you could do there. And finally, we get to one card that the hand can play, the Fist. It's an attack of 3. After combat, you may deal 1 damage to your attacking fighter. If you do, return this card to your hand and gain an action. Now, when this one is going to be good is when you have multiple fighters adjacent to your opponent there, or to your opponent's fighters, that you could have one of the hand attack. You can wipe them out, return this to your hand. Okay, yeah, she has those hand, and then she has her hand of her cards. It's a little confusing, but you can do that and then get an action back, so it can give you an action gain, and you get this card that you can use again if you still have hand left over at that point. And we see here with the 20 cards that Elektra has that they are 2 copies each of 10 cards. So it's a very symmetrical deck here, the way this thing is broken up here. So the big question here is going to be, when do you want Elektra to die? Well, that's a good question there, and there's 2 different things that you will see people try to do with Elektra. One of those is going to be just run around the board and try to survive as long as you can, because she gets her discard pile back in to her deck and gets shuffled back in. And she's got 20 cards here, so she can get a pretty good deck there. You may think, wow, 22 times, that would be 40. Well, tends to not really work like that because you're going to have some cards in your hand that aren't going to show back up later. So, you know, you're going to end up having, if you have like 5 cards in hand, you're going to have 15 that go back into your deck. So if you're doing that, you need to keep Elektra around for a while, and you need to at least get your opponent like halfway through their deck, if not further, which can be a little hard to do. She does not have like any card draw built into her deck at all. It can last a long time if you're able to maneuver around. You can use these hands to kind of block for her, and for the first half of it, you are just trying to like take turns on the game there, go ahead and engage a little bit, and then come back with a huge card advantage and hopefully enough health to be able to outlast them, because as you know, you do come back with 9 health when you resurrect. So that is plan number 1. Plan number 2 is to try to build this nice combo in your hand. And you see that there are a number of cards that are much, much better once she is resurrected. Mesmerize, being able to look at your opponent's hand and gain an action. I mean, that could be good. That gives you a look at what they got in there. Being able to pull a card out of their hand and gain an action is really good. If you have both of these in your hand, you could pull 2 cards out of their hand and still have all of your turn's actions, since these gain an action on them. At that point, you will want to have some other things that you could hit them with. It'd be nice if you could have a couple copies of the Fist, or even just 1 copy of the Fist in there. Go ahead and smack them multiple times, and then start getting some of your 6s or 4s in there. And the idea would be that even though you have to put them all in different zones, you try to position your hand and Elektra to where they can easily, in 1 turn, move up on them. Okay, so since filming this, I have played Elektra a little bit more and have played against Elektra a little bit more. And I think that working towards the combo is really going to be the biggest thing that Elektra can do. Okay, so the cards that you absolutely need to have for the combo are going to be both copies of Mesmerize. You're going to want to have 1 copy of the Fist, and you're going to need 1 of your Mystic Assassins, and then also something else in hand that you can boost with. Basically, the idea is to get all of your fighters on there as close to your opponent as you can. You go ahead and position to where you can boost and maneuver up to them. You'll start off before you'll boost and maneuver. You'll go ahead and play Mesmerize. Play the 1 copy of that, look at their hand. You can play the second one then if you need to go ahead and pull another defense out. Usually at this point, if you haven't pulled all of their defenses out, you can have pulled out stuff that will make it to where they aren't going to be able to avoid the Fist there. So you will try to get as many of your hand adjacent to them as you can, and Elektra adjacent to them. And you know, some maps that may be only 2 that you can do, but you try to get what you can. You cycle through this as many times as you can, killing off your hand and just taking this card back in and repeating it to go ahead and run through and just get, you know, either pull defenses out of their hand or just do the 3 damage to them if they start running out of defenses. And then you end that turn with the 6 there. And at that point, you're either hitting really big with this, or they're taking it undefended because you have burned them out of defenses through playing the 2 Mesmerizes and playing the Fist possibly multiple times. And really, this is a very difficult combo to be able to play through. I'm not sure exactly what the best ways to get around it are. There will be... I'm sure that people will come up with their solutions to it, but this combo is really nasty, and I think that being able to pull that off, if you can get these in your hand, just maybe you see any of these 4 cards get in your hand, especially if you're playing against someone that doesn't have some sort of discard, you just keep these in hand and try to get all of them built up, as well as something to boost with. She's got a lot of 3s and 4s left in the deck that she can boost with, and I think that this is really going to be what does the trick with Elektra. So anyway, this is what all is going on with Elektra. Do you have any other thoughts about that? If you do, go down into the comments and let us know what you think. You can give this video a thumbs up and a like so that other people can find it. And you can also go to my channel and subscribe so you can take a look at everything that's on there and not miss anything. We'll see you around next time.